Today we've got my full review of the Samsung Galaxy S8 as well as the S8 Plus, next on Technology. What's up everybody, it's Nick with Technology, and today I got my full review for the Galaxy S8 and the S8 Plus for you guys. I've been using both of these phones for the past 2 weeks, and I have one as a business line, one as my personal line, and I've actually been just alternating the SIM back and forth between the two, so that way I'm actually using each phone for extended periods of time. Like I've been having them for about, maybe using one phone for 2 days straight, switch out the SIM, use the other phone for 2 days straight. That way I can get like a really good informed opinion as far as what I like about each phone compared to the other phone. Kind of give you guys some information on which one to choose, which might be best for you. Both phones, I'll say right from the beginning, are great phones, so it's just kind of going to be a matter of preference because for the most part they're pretty much about the same specs. So the first part of this review I want to go over is the design. The design of this phone is arguably the biggest selling point of this phone. They're calling it the Infinity Display. It's the 18.5 by 9 aspect ratio, and the near bezel-less experience you're getting that's what you're truly paying for with this phone. It is a beautiful display, as Samsung displays always are. The Super AMOLED displays are very saturated, and just a gorgeous display. And I'll get it to a white screen here, where you guys can actually see the screen, where you can see just up on the bottom and top here just how small the bezels really are. And that's really the biggest selling point of this phone. It's a really immersive experience when you're watching content, using split screen, just lots of different areas where that display really shines. Now going forward, I think you're going to be seeing a lot more. Obviously there's already the LG G6 that's using a very similar display like this, but Samsung really just nailed it with the display on this, and that is arguably what you are paying for with this phone, is this display. The S7 and S7 Edge, especially the S7 Edge, it just felt kind of sharp when you're holding it on the sides. Nothing bad, like I love that phone, but this one just feels a lot better experience, and that's either one that you're using between the S8 or the S8 Plus. It just, the curve on the front and the back just makes it feel really, really good in hand. Now obviously you're going to change that if you throw a case on it, but just using it as is, it just has a really, really pleasant experience, very premium feel to it. Now the S8 Plus, this is definitely the bigger of the two, and this is a 6.2 inch screen compared to the 5.8 inch screen on the S8. So this will give you a lot more screen real estate. And looking at the bottom of the phone here, you get your 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, the USB Type-C, and they had that started off with the Galaxy Note 7 with USB Type-C, so they've moved that on over to the Galaxy S8. And then you also have the single fire speaker grill at the bottom. It's better than last year's version, but still would have liked to have seen the dual stereo speakers. Now on the right side of the phone here, this is where you have your power button. And up on the top, you're going to have your micro SD card slot and SIM card tray. And this one's not a dual SIM. And on the left side, we have your volume up and down rocker and the Bixby button. And I'll get into Bixby a little bit more later, but as of now, Bixby is just a big fail as of right now, honestly. I'm sure it's going to be good in the future, and we'll discuss that a little bit more, but as of now, it's not really doing too much. And then looking at the front of the phone here, you can see you no longer have the physical home button, but you have the capacitive button, which is now, this is the 3D type touch forced pressure sensitive button. And it works great. It actually feels cool. It has the haptic engine feedback at the bottom, kind of similar to the iPhones. You have your back button, your menu button, which you can actually change in the menu now, so you can actually switch them up from how Samsung normally has it. On the back here, you've got your flash and heart rate sensor, 12 megapixel camera, and you have your fingerprint scanner, and a very awkwardly placed fingerprint scanner. It's not completely terrible. I am getting a little bit more used to it now. It's definitely easier to use on the S8 compared to the S8 Plus, but still just not my favorite placement of the button. Is it a deal breaker? Absolutely not. I can get used to it, and you have lots of other ways. You have the iris scanning to open your phone. You got the facial recognition, your PIN, but fingerprint is still definitely usable. It just would have been nice if they were going to put it by the camera to at least somehow have it like more recessed, something to where your finger can feel it better, just so that you're not hitting your camera lens. And that's more my biggest concern, not so much being able to use the fingerprint scanner, but that I'm just going to keep smudging up my camera, and then when I go to take a picture, it's going to be all messed up. But like I said, definitely not a deal breaker, but would have been better situated in the middle, and hopefully they'll actually have it embedded into the screen for the Galaxy Note 8. At the top of the phone here, this is where you have your iris scanner, your earpiece, ambient sensor, and your 8 megapixel selfie camera. Now this is an upgrade from the S7 Edge, and between the two phones, they're going to be the same as far as picture quality. And I wanted to give you just kind of a reference here. Now this is my S7 Edge, and it size-wise definitely sits right in between the two of these. The S7 Edge is a pretty manageable phone one-handed. Jumping up to the S8 Plus, that is where you're going to start feeling a bit more heft to it. The S8 is definitely a one-handed use phone. The S8 Plus, you do get to where you're kind of needing to use two hands a little bit more. Primarily for like texting and stuff. I can reach across the screen pretty easy, but texting, that's where you get to where it's a little bit easier just using it as a two-handed phone. Now jumping back over to the S8. This is definitely a one-handed use phone. It feels great in the hand. That's one of the biggest things that I like about the S8, is just how good this actually does feel in the hand. With the curved edges, you're still getting that big screen, the 5.8-inch screen, but just that easeability of being able to reach everything one-handed is a very nice feature. It's one of the things that from using large phones all the time, I kind of forget just how much I do enjoy having one that I can just use pretty much everything just one-handed. Okay, now looking at the specs of both of the phones here, they both feature 64 gigabytes onboard storage. They both feature the micro SD card slot that's expandable to 256 gigabytes. They both feature the 4 gigabytes of RAM. These are the US versions here that I have, so they have the Snapdragon 835 chip. The international versions, they will be featuring the Exynos 8895 chip. And both of those are very solid chips. They're going to be very fast. You're going to have no problems, no slowdowns with either one of those chips. The battery is one of the differences that you do have between the two phones. So now on the S8, you're going to get the 3000 milliamp battery. And compared to the S8 Plus, it's going to have the 3500 milliamp battery. Now you do get the bigger screen size with the S8 Plus, so whether or not from my testing, I am getting more time with the S8 Plus. I've been averaging around maybe 4 hours of screen on time. If I'm lucky, 4.5 on the S8. On the S8 Plus, I've been hitting between 5.5 to 6 hours screen time pretty religiously. So that one's been pretty consistent between the 5.5 to 6 hours screen on time. Both feature for their cameras. They have the 8 megapixel 1.7 aperture on the front facing camera, and the 12 megapixel 1.7 aperture camera for the back. And both of these are going to be featuring the wireless and fast charging. They're both IP68 water and dust resistant, and they're both coated front and back in the Corning Gorilla Glass 5. With the color options on mine, I ended up going with the Midnight Black on both versions because I'll be keeping one of these for sure. I'm going to be keeping as my daily driver. But as you can see, they are just absolute fingerprint magnets. And now I will be doing my clear coat, full skin on them. If you watch my videos, you know I put that on pretty much everything that I have. And I'll be shooting a video as far as showing you guys the clear coat on for these phones as well. But I like to use my phones without a case a lot of the time, just how they are made. And using it without some kind of a skin on it, they're just an extreme fingerprint magnet. Now the Orchid Gray color would do a lot better job as far as hiding your fingerprints, but I prefer the Midnight Black, so I'll show you my video once I get the clear coats on them, and it's how much that actually hides the fingerprints. So the next portion of this review is going to be about media playback, and I'm actually giving it its own section due to the infinity display. And considering that that's one of the biggest selling points of this phone, I thought we'd have just a separate section. I'll show you some of my video here of just how your media consumption is going to be on here. For watching videos, which I do a lot of with YouTube, It's just a really nice experience. Now, throwing it up just like normal here, you're going to see it has the black bars on the left and right there. So you can watch it like that, and that's just like a normal, just like on any other phone there. But it does give you the option to click in, and basically it's going to crop to fit the screen, but then it's going to actually extend it to where you're using the whole part of your display. And to me, it's just a really, really nice experience watching your videos like this. If you're like me and watch a lot of YouTube content, then to me, I'm always looking for one of the nicer ways to be able to actually view that kind of content, watching movies, playing games, anything like that. Having a nice screen just makes it that much more of a nicer experience. And that is where these phones truly shine, is within their screens. And I'll set them up here, try to get them to where you can actually see them side by side. And scoot this one up a little bit here. But so you can kind of see the difference between the S8 Plus and the S8 as far as just how much screen real estate you're going to have for your playback. And either choice that you go with, they're really, really good. I even try to think of like the S8 is a 5.8-inch screen, and that's bigger than what the Galaxy Note 7 was. And that's what the Note series always was, the bigger screens. And now the smaller version of this, the S8, actually has that same screen size. But if you really want the nice content and view the whole thing, then the S8 Plus is definitely the way to go. It's just a real pleasure watching videos on the S8 Plus. Okay, moving on to the next section of the review is software. And now this time around, both phones are featuring the Edge panels. Last time they were just with the S7 Edge, but now they come stock on S8 and the S8 Plus. It also brought over from the Note 7 is the GIF animation. I know that was kind of a popular thing with the Galaxy Note 7, where you can actually record and make your own short GIFs, which is kind of a cool little feature. I use it every once in a while, but nice to actually see that they brought that feature over from the Note 7. And within your Edge panels, you can pick, all kinds of different, they have different choices you can pick. It's your calendar, your schedule, some CNN updates, but lots of different things you can do with the Edge, which, it's not like a major feature, but having the Edge panels is actually, it's just basically, I look at it as a cool bonus. Then getting into the settings here, you can see I changed the themes, and that's one of the things I like too, is the Samsung theme store, where you can kind of change the look of your phone. This one I just did like a minimalistic black theme one on here, which looks pretty cool. And then about the phone, it's actually running the Android 7.0 Nougat, which is kind of a disappointment. I was hoping it would come out with the 7.1.1, but it has not, and it's running on top of the Samsung Experience 8.1. And we'll see, as far as Samsung, usually they seem pretty slow about getting updates out, but hopefully this time around they're actually going to get a little bit better with getting the software updates out and get some more improvements with the Nougat 7.1.1. And then also going into here, let's take a look back in the settings here. We have, let's see. So getting into the display here, this is where we've got lots of different features within here. We got the navigation bar. Now on here, you can change your button layout, so that's nice. That's one of the gripes I know a lot of people have had, that Samsung has had the buttons backwards with the back and the menu. But now you can keep it how they have it, or you can switch it back to have the back button on the left and the menu button down at the bottom right. Another feature they have in here is you can click on the unlock with home button, and just with a hard press, it'll bypass the lock screen and unlock it. I also keep the home button itself down at a more sensitive setting there. Just makes it a little bit easier. Another new software feature is the ability to swipe up to get your app drawer. And this is a nice feature that they have it on the Google Pixel. I've used this on Nova Launcher before, and just kind of a nice, quick, easy way to get into your folder, your apps, and that part I really like. And one of the things I also like that was brought over from the Galaxy Note 7 is the secure folder. Now this I actually do use all the time, and I put in my banking apps and any kind of financial apps in here, and I have it set to my iris scanner to be able to open it. So it just gives you that more extra security on it, which is really nice to have especially for like financial information. And pulling down the notification panel here, this is where you can see they actually have the blue light filter, which that's a good feature to have on all phones nowadays. It's just nice to have that for nighttime. And within the notification, you can actually change and rearrange all your icons how you want. You can slide it over and get a whole second screen full of icons there for your notifications. So that's always nice to have. Then with the display, you got your blue light filter there. It comes on you got your adaptive display, AMOLED Cinema, AMOLED photo, basic. On adaptive display, that's where you can actually get into your color balance, and that's where you can change your red, green, and blue. And for anyone that was having any of the red tinting issues, I personally haven't seen anyone that's had that, but if you have, this is an area where you can actually kind of adjust that if it was minor. And when you actually get the phone, it comes out on the FHD. It's at the 1080p display. So you can, if you want the full Quad HD, just have to get in there and switch it over. Personally, I don't notice a big difference, but I still run it at that. Getting here, you can actually change your size of your font. You can zoom everything. Your full screen apps. This is where it's going to take advantage of that infinity display. So if you go in here, whatever apps you have checked, then they are going to size themselves for your infinity display, and I haven't noticed any issues with that whatsoever. Then you get into your edge panels here. This is where you can pick all your different edge panels, lots to choose from. The handle setting, I've had someone before ask me about that at my store of not knowing how to get in there. It's like you just go right in here, and this is where you can change the transparency of it, so that way it's not so just a big bar sticking on your home screen. So you can change it from left to right, but that's where you get in for your edge settings there. And let's see what else we got in here. We've got your navigation bar. So if you want to change the color of your navigation bar at the bottom, you can do that. It's got some preset colors, but then you can also choose one here, and this is where you can actually just make it whatever color you want. So it's kind of a nice little feature just if you want to customize your phone, just makes it a little bit different. And now we're jumping over to one of the features that I really enjoy is the always on display. And you can get in here, you can customize it as far as what kind of look you want to have, what kind of for your clock, calendar, notifications. But to me, it's just really nice having that on your screen. I like the way that Samsung implements it here with just being able to, pull your phone out of your pocket, take a quick glance at what time it is, what kind of notifications you have. I actually use this as my main clock on my bedside all the time as well. Then we also got like your device maintenance. Now this is basically just Clean Master. But it's nice, it's just built into the software where you can get in here and optimize your phone, free up some storage. You can do all your device maintenance just in one shot here. And also within the software, I'm going to go into the connections here, is talk about Bluetooth 5.0. Now this is the first device to have the Bluetooth 5.0, and that's going to give you a longer connectivity range. You're going to be able to actually connect to two different devices at the same time. So it's just very nice to have, and there's going to be a lot of, as far as even just being future-proofed for the phone, that it is actually the first phone to have the Bluetooth 5.0. So that's definitely an added benefit as well. Now, to the side here is the Bixby button. So Bixby is going to have its own little section in the review here. Can Bixby be something great? It's possible. Do we know yet? We don't know yet. It's very unfortunate to see Samsung that they released the phone with Bixby just not ready to go, considering that it's one thing just having an actual piece of software that just wasn't ready to go at the launch, but having an actual dedicated hardware button that is for that software and it not being ready to go is just kind of embarrassing a little bit. I have hopes because I do enjoy the Google Assistant and my Google Now cards. So hopefully Bixby will actually get to that level to where having its own dedicated button is going to be a really useful feature. As of now, like getting little Giphies and my reminders and stuff just doesn't quite deserve having its own dedicated button yet. I know that there's been apps where you can remap it. I remapped mine and then it got changed where I couldn't remap it. So as of now, Bixby's just kind of on hold and to wait and see what they actually come up with for Bixby. Next part of the review is going to be looking at the audio. Now, they still have the single fire speaker grill. And you do get a nice pair of AKG earbuds that come in the package. And they are nice earbuds. I mean, compared to what you normally would get for your free headphones, these are definitely a lot better. I would have much rather had the dual speakers than the AKG headphones. But I will say that the speaker quality is better on this phone compared to the S7 and S7 Edge. With the earbuds in, it actually has a really good sound experience with it. You can kind of see the cable here. It's more of a rubberized cable at the top here, and then it goes into the braided cable at the bottom. So you do get, I will give it that. You definitely get a nicer pair of earbuds in the box. But I'm hoping that for the next phone that they're going to start looking at the dual speakers. Any phone that's dealing with a bottom firing single speaker grill is just going to be audio challenged. Like the ZTE Axon 7 just did it fantastic with their front facing dual speakers with the Dolby Atmos. That, with this price point of a phone, let's hope by the Galaxy Note 8 that they do start looking at that, because it should be at that level. So next up is going to be looking at the camera, and the camera layout's very familiar. It's very quick. You can snap your shots really fast. I have two little ones that are running around all the time, so it's nice to actually have a phone that I could actually capture them pretty quick. So very, very quick speed. It's very, very similar to the S7 and S7 Edge. I would say that it does have a better processor as far as the image processing. I did see that the sensor is a little bit different than the S7, S7 Edge, but they're pretty comparable to those phones. But that's not a bad thing. Those took great pictures, and these actually do step it up a little bit. Now within the camera app, this is where Bixby comes into play also, as you can take a picture of things, try to look for it as far as on shopping, looking for images and getting some information. I've tried it out a little bit, and it just reminds me kind of like the Amazon Fire phone, if you remember that phone. Kind of a cool feature. I don't really see myself using that feature too much. But you never know. It's nice. Again, it's kind of one of those things that it's nice that it's there. So it doesn't hurt anything that it's there, but it doesn't mean that I'm necessarily going to use it all the time. Within the camera app, Samsung gives you all kinds of choices of what to use. You get your Pro mode, panorama. You swipe to the left, you get all those choices. Swipe to the right, you can actually get your filters. If you swipe up, then it goes to your selfie camera. Swipe down, switches back. So it just gives you a lot of the finger gesture motions to access the features on here as well. And with the camera, you're getting the 4K video. You got optical image stabilization. This cameras on the Samsung are just one of the best in class. I know that there's obviously going to be a lot of other phones out there that are going to be comparable to it as well, but I mean that's pretty good when you're one of the leaders out there where they're being compared to you. So the Samsung cameras have just been, the past couple of generations of their phones have been just fantastic. So if really good camera quality is something that's very important to you, then you're going to have no issues with either phone. Both phones take the same pictures as far as the S8 and S8 Plus, same processors, same camera, everything, but you're going to have no disappointment with your quality of your pictures and your videos with this. So would I recommend buying the Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus? Absolutely yes. This is a great phone. This is going to be one of the best phones of the year. This is one of those phones that actually checks off almost every box for me. The only one that I would say that it was missing was the sound quality, as far as I would have liked the dual speakers, but it has the IP68 water and dust resistance. It has the wireless charging. It has the fast charging. It has a gorgeous Super AMOLED display. It has the micro SD card slot. So this one pretty much covers almost all the bases for me. Samsung did a great job coming back after their problems with the Galaxy Note 7, so I do highly recommend this phone. As far as which one to choose, it's just going to depend on your preference for the size. I definitely recommend going into the store and just feeling it out with your hand so you can actually get a good feel of which is just going to feel better for you as far as size-wise. But I have some links below as far as from my other videos. I've got those case giveaways going on. I'll be having some more case giveaways going on for the Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus. As always, thank you guys so much for supporting my channel. I really appreciate it. Until next time.